Okay, this is a great, great day. We have Ty and Charlene Bollinger from The Truth About Cancer. Now, I've interviewed Ty before, but this is my first time. We hear about his beautiful wife. We get to be with her as well. And so today, fasten your seatbelts because we're going to learn a new truth about cancer. And normally we have music and we get to dance and all of that, but because we're pre-recording, we get to wait till the start. Here we go. Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been listening to the show for 7 years, or maybe you just stumbled upon me yesterday, I am so grateful to you. Welcome back. But if you have stumbled upon the show today, let me tell you, this is a great day to stumble upon the show because the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now today, this is an exciting day because we get to spend time with Ty and Charlene Bollinger. And I've spoken about them before. I've done a show with Ty before. But for those of you who are new to the show, perhaps maybe this is the first time that you hear that there is a new truth about cancer. It's been with us for a long time. It's just that with the help of Ty and Charlene Bollinger, they're creating, and we are creating, critical mass. I've said this before. Alone, we're just one person. But together, we're an overwhelming majority. And this is a great example. You can go to thetruthaboutcancer.com and to learn more. But how many of us have experienced being told that someone you love or someone you know, maybe even you, that you have a cancer diagnosis, only to be rushed into chemotherapy, only to be rushed into surgery, only to lose your power and give your power away to someone who has something to gain by doing chemotherapy, radiation, all these different treatments. Perhaps maybe today you will learn a new truth, a truth that will lead you to informed choice. So today we have Charlene and Ty Bollinger, and I am so grateful that they're going to be sharing their story about the truth about cancer and will teach us what we need to know about cancer, the history, the treatment, and preventions. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Ty and Charlene are here to do just that. Welcome to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you, Lillian. Good to be on the show today.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't hear you. I saw you guys nodding and I couldn't hear you. Well, let's start from the very beginning. I don't know who would like to share a little bit about your background. And of course, I know about your background, but there may be someone that's new that hasn't heard about the truth about cancer. So Ty, let's start with you and then we'll bring Charlene and share her story as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'll let Charlene share about how we got started in this because she tells the story much better than I do. And it goes way back to the first of our marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, it began actually when we were children. I was dreaming about my knight in shining armor, as most girls do. I grew up and met a lot of frogs and saw the movie Braveheart and knew that I had a brave heart in the world. And really, literally, weeks after that movie, I met Ty. The first night we went out, he said, I don't mean to scare you, but I think I'm falling in love with you. And I said, I love you too. 3 nights later, within 9 days, I had the ring on my finger. And 6 months later, we were married. We were living the dream, happier than you can imagine. And we thought the rest of our life would live happily ever after. 6 months into our beautiful marriage was when Ty's father was diagnosed with cancer. His stomach, he had this excruciating pain. We went to the ER. He went into surgery. We thought it was exploratory for gallstones. Little did we know what we were in for. The doctors came out 2 hours into the surgery, rattled with tears in their eyes and said, it's cancer and he's so young and it's so advanced. And this was in 1996. And back then we really didn't know the truth about cancer. We just knew at the time cancer equals death. And so we thought we're going to lose Dad. And within 25 days later, we did lose him. Wow. But it wasn't from the cancer. We thought back then that it was. That's what we were told. But they cut his stomach out. They sewed him back up, did not do it properly, and he bled to death. Oh. 6 months after this experience, this was such a tragedy. We lost his father's father, and then a year later, his father's brother, his cousin Glenn, all within that first year. Mm-hmm. A couple years later, we lost his mother's mother, then his mother's father, and finally, his dear, precious, beautiful mother, my mother in love. She was the mother and my best friend next to Ty. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. In 2004, we were determined, losing her, that other families around the world did not need to be plundered like ours was. We were researching this whole time, came to the knowledge of the truth about cancer, wrote a book called Cancer Step Outside the Box, self-published in 2006, and reached hundreds of thousands of people. But in 2014 was when we started making our documentaries, and we've reached millions. And we now hear from people around the world that were sent home to die by their conventional doctors, that watched our films or read our books, and today are alive and cancer-free to tell their story. And they are why we do what we do.
Absolutely. And I am so grateful to the two of you, because there's got to be someone to stand up, take a stand, and with you, we stand with you. And we're going to continue our conversation with Ty and Charlene Bollinger when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Amazing. I never tire of that story. I know it's a tragic story because you experienced a lot of loss. What did that do to you as a young couple just getting started in life and dealing with grief after grief after grief? As a Christian person, we have to be, we are told that we need to be grateful for everything. How did you mourn? How were you able to mourn?
Yeah, at first, Lillian, it made me mad because as we began to research, I felt like we had lost our family because they didn't know better, right? Because of lack of knowledge, because treatments were being suppressed and doctors were being persecuted. And so it made me really angry for a long time. And I know that, all things work together for our good in the end. And we can look back now 22 years later and we can see that. But at that time, I was mad for a long time because I felt like I'd been cheated. But we can look back now and see that it has all worked out for our good. And we can see a lot of, millions of people have been helped. But that's how I dealt with it at first was I was angry.
Absolutely.
And for me, understanding God's goodness and sovereignty, we knew that God had a purpose in it, and he only does that which is good and that which is right. And we leaned on him heavily, and we had great support from Christian friends and pastors and with one another. For us, I can see clearly why God gave us such a strong foundation, not only in Christ as Christians, but also in our marriage. I mean, I knew that Tom on the moon, he was absolutely my Braveheart. Before I met him, I knew that I had a superhero in this world that was going to be my husband and do great things. And when I met him, it was clear. But at the point,
30 seconds.
Yeah, it was clear. Okay. So, yeah.
It's okay. You can keep talking. That's just the guide for now. Yeah.
It was clear that God gave us such a strong love because we couldn't weather this storm without the love I have and admiration I have for Ty, that he has for me, and that we have for the Lord. So it was absolutely God himself that held us through this.
Yeah, I can see that. There are times where people become very successful too early in a marriage. And when hard times come, it crumbles the marriage. But when difficulty comes and you're just getting started and you're learning this lesson right off the bat, when success comes, the two of you have the ground, you have the foundation that is required to grow and work together as a team, and a successful team as both of you have been. But I see that we're ready to get started again. And so we're going to go with the second segment, and I'm excited to tell a little bit more about the book. So before I get started, okay, here we go. We're ready to get started. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn with one another or from one another. And today's teachers are Ty and Charlene Bollinger. For those of you who the name sounds familiar, or maybe you've never heard the name before because this is your first time listening to a show that focuses on alternative, progressive, integrative, holistic, and a new truth about things that are being kept from us, well, you're in for a treat, because the truth about cancer is changing lives. It's empowering people into not just, learning from the people that we have on the show, but they have a whole a series of information that you can tap into. And you can go to thetruthaboutcancer.com to learn more. You can also go to whenyouneedafriend.com for some of these books that you would like to get. Now, I will let you know that we're giving away two different books. The first one is called Cancer, Step Outside the Box, and the other one is The Truth About Cancer. So we're going to pick two different people. So I will say the 7th and 10th caller will win these books. So get ready, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. Get the two books. The winner's 7th and 10th caller get Cancer, Step Outside the Box, and The Truth About Cancer. So let's continue. We've learned about all the different things that have happened right after you got married. So at this point, it is 2004. And Ty, you said at the beginning or during the break, you said that you were angry. You were angry that you experienced this loss. And at the time, after the anger, before the anger, is vulnerability. Did you know what to do? Did you feel helpless? Did you feel like you had to go with the chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery?
After the initial anger, we kind of turned that into just determination to get the truth out to the people. We felt like that we had lost our family because of lack of knowledge. And so what we tried to do really was just channel that into determination to get this truth out to the masses. That, number one, cancer doesn't need to be a death sentence. There's lots of treatment options that people have that they just may not know about. Mm-hmm. They're not educated about these treatment options. And we wanted to get the truth out too, that not only do they not know about them, but these treatments are being actively suppressed. And so that's one reason you don't know about them, is that there's an active campaign to suppress anything that competes with the medical industry, because it is an industry, and it's not really a healthcare system that we live in the United States. It's more of a sickness perpetuation system. Yeah. And so we just wanted to empower people with knowledge so that if they're diagnosed with cancer, and 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women today will face a diagnosis according to the World Health Organization, then you'll have the knowledge that you need to make a good decision on your treatment options. And that's all we wanted, was just people to have the knowledge so they could make a good choice. And we didn't feel like we had that knowledge, when Dad and Mom and all the rest of our family members got sick, because we didn't know. We couldn't make a real choice because we didn't know there were options.
And now you can help others make informed choices, which is what we lack. And, Scripture says our people perish due to lack of knowledge. And some of that knowledge is being suppressed, like you said. And so as you guys are learning this new truth, what was your first, this has got to stop right now, and here we are so many years later and it's still happening. What's your greatest awareness that you would like to inform us at this point?
Go ahead. You want to take that one?
Well, sure. I think that it was really, as we were researching, we were learning the truth about all these different treatments that were available that we didn't know about. And then we started digging deeper and found out the corruption of the medical system in place, and that most doctors wouldn't even take chemotherapy because they knew it was harmful. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't allow their family members. And as we dug deeper, that's where the anger really started for us, I think. And we couldn't understand, how could anybody knowingly do this and participate in the system? And so it was our goal from that point on. That really propelled us into writing the books and doing the documentary so that other people could learn the truths that we weren't afforded at the time that we were facing those diagnoses, so that others wouldn't have to be duped into the system and forced and bullied into the treatments that don't actually work.
Yeah, and let me follow that up with, on the flip side of the coin, not only the conventional oncologists that may not even do chemo if they're diagnosed, but they're prescribing it to patients. The other thing that was really shocking was the way that medical doctors, if they use treatments that are not approved, they're actually punished. They're persecuted. There was a book that I read, I remember back in the mid-90s, it was by an author named Ozabel, I think, and it was called When Healing Becomes a Crime. And we began to learn that if you heal with unapproved treatments, you can literally lose your license in the United States, or you might be forced to leave the country to practice medicine. And so, that was something that really got under our skin, because doctors are supposed to be healers, right? Doctor actually means teacher, but doctors are supposed to be healers, and they should be able to employ whatever healing modality works, but they're not in the United States. They have to be approved modalities, and unfortunately at the heart of that approval process is the almighty dollar. One of the things that we've been recently learned, I just traveled to Asia in July, and we're producing another documentary next year called Eastern Medicine, where we went to 7 countries in 7 days, and we interviewed doctors, what they're doing in Asia to treat cancer. And the thing that's different there is that in most countries there, doctors are just allowed to use whatever works. There's not an official treatment that they have to stick with. Some countries are an exception, of course, but four of the 7 countries that we went to, doctors can use whatever works, because healing the patient is the key. But unfortunately, in the United States, you have to treat the patient with an approved treatment. Healing's not really the goal. It's using approved treatments. And I think the reason is because that lends itself to more money in the pockets of big pharma.
Yeah. And, we've lost a lot of people in our family. Well, actually my husband's family, who's also my family, but, and it's helpless, you see, and it's not just the medical, industry. It's also the media and the people that have bought into the stories that we're being told, that because, we know, the doctors know that they are pretty much, they have to offer what they're told that they need to offer. But and I can tell you with my sister-in-law, when she had it, she wanted to do alternative. She wanted to do holistic. And she was on her way of doing that and releasing some of the traumas in her life. And she was bullied into trying chemotherapy and radiation, but she really actually wanted to do something different. And so as a result, we lost her to the side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, as is the truth for most people. And I know, and this is what bothers me, is that we've lost so many people to cancer, and it's become customary to lose someone to chemotherapy and radiation. But if we lose one person to alternative health, integrative, functional, holistic, then all hell breaks loose. Would any of you like to address that? Or either of you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I missed it.
Yes. Would either one of you like to address the fact that we have, that the industry, the medical industry we lose a lot of people to the side effects of chemotherapy and radiation. And nobody says anything. Mm-hmm. It's normal. It's okay. But if we lose one person to an integrative, functional, holistic way of healing, then all hell breaks loose. Would you like to address that?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's a great point. That's one of the points of anger that we had to go through. Yeah. And still, it baffles us. But that is a stronghold that the medical system, the current conventional medical system has. If you look on the FDA's own website, as an example, mm-hmm. they list the top reasons for death. And one of them is by doctors. And what they say with, for example, properly prescribed pharmaceutical drugs are killing over 100,000 people per year. Now, if you get some raw milk and a bad carton of it and it makes someone sick and they're in the hospital without even dying,
yep.
We've seen SWAT teams come into those farms and take away, confiscate that milk and the cheese. There is a double standard. And the fact is that the natural treatments that nourish the body and target only cancer cells and kill cancer are systematically not only being suppressed, but like Ty said, Rife, Royal Raymond Rife was persecuted. They ruined his life. That's one of many examples. For another current living example of persecution is one of our very best friends, Dr. Brzezinski.
Yes.
He says that he is now fighting the grandchildren of the FDA. He's fought 3 generations of the FDA just to cure people, just to treat them successfully with these treatments that are highly successful. So yes, that's a big, big disconnect and problem. And that is why what you're doing and what we're doing is so important to educate the people that don't yet know so that they can understand the persecution that's happening within the system. We really would like to break the current system and rebuild so that people can know the truth and as a result live.
Absolutely. Ty, would you like to add anything to Charlene, what Charlene said?
Sure, yeah. The thing, and Charlene mentioned on the FDA's website, they admit 100,000 deaths per year to drugs that they have approved and that were properly prescribed. That's mind-blowing if you think about it. It's like it's hidden in plain sight that we approve drugs that kill people when they're properly prescribed and properly taken, but it's okay because they're approved. But it goes further than that. I mean, if you look at some of the chemotherapeutic agents that are now used to treat cancer, on the package insert, one of the side effects may be secondary cancers that are listed. You know, for instance, with tamoxifen, a breast cancer drug, secondary cancers that are listed on the insert are uterine cancer and cervical cancer. So it's like it's hidden in plain sight. We're treating cancer with drugs that can cause cancer, and we're even going to tell you that they might cause cancer on the package insert. But again, as Charlene mentioned, the double standard. Can you imagine if there were a natural treatment for cancer that said, hey, you know, this might cure breast cancer, but it might cause uterine cancer or cervical cancer? It wouldn't be allowed. I mean, they would destroy that company overnight. Yeah. But this happens regularly with the drug industry, with pharmaceutical industry, specifically with cancer treatments. Yeah. So it's this, and doctors have been led into this double think where they can believe 2 contradictory things at the same time, that this treats cancer while it causes cancer. That just doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to us, but we are told that this is what we have to do. And we've been trained since birth to believe what our doctors know best. And in doing the show, Ty and Charlene, what I've learned is that many doctors that are being honest on the show, they say, we really don't know what we're doing. We're learned to treat, and we learn to prescribe, but you know, sometimes the body is doing things that we have no idea what it's doing. We can only guess. And I love that honesty. And if we only knew about that, you know, from the birth, you know, like, don't give your power away. Use people you trust to help you build, but don't give your power away. But that's not what's happening right now. And we're going to continue our conversation. Please remember, the 7th and 10th caller will get the books Cancer Step Outside the Box and The Truth About Cancer. 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. So as you have continued, Ty and Charlene, to dive deeper into, you know, it first started like, I want to learn a new truth. Then it's like, okay, now I'm looking at corruption, and now I'm looking at, you know, that they're taking our choice away with vaccinations and chemtrails and all this stuff that you've learned. Now, of course, we're saying this off the air. We're not saying this on the air because it may not be the right time for people to listen to it. But what are you saying? Can you see any hope at the end when it comes to, you know, us creating this movement where we can say, no, government, you're not going to tell us that we have to do vaccines, or no, we don't want to do chemotherapy? Are you seeing a trend going towards that? Either one of you would like to answer that?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're seeing that over the last decade. If we didn't believe that there was hope at the end of the tunnel, or light at the end of the tunnel, we wouldn't do what we're doing, because it would just be too much despair. But I think we're making a difference, and I think that at the end of the day, we will have more freedom of choice when it comes to our own health treatments.
Yeah.
And we see a big difference in the information, even through the conventional media, the mainstream media. They're having to cover things that 10 years ago they didn't. And we know it's in large part due to what you're doing and what we're doing, educating the world. And that's why it's so important to do it, because we're making a difference. And as believers, we also understand the spiritual realm. This is all spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
We are under attack, no doubt about it. It started in the garden. The truth was under attack there. It went through the prophets. They killed the prophets because they didn't like the truth. And then Jesus, they hung him on a cross because he is the very essence. He is the truth. And then the Dark Ages, they were suppressing the truth and killing people over the truth, keeping the truth from them. Then we had the Renaissance. But today we're living in the digital Dark Ages. The truth is still under attack, but the truth will endure. The truth has been from eternity past. God himself is the Ancient of Days. And so we know the end of the story.
I know.
And we're
Amen. Amen. I love that. So when we come back from the break, what I'd like to do is I normally talk a little bit about my show and how to get a hold of me. And then I do want to go into the do's and don'ts. Like in your book, The Truth About Cancer, you go into the detections of the do's and don'ts that you may be able to share, little snippets where people are driving, they're listening, and they can empower themselves to say, not my body, not today, not now. Because, when you get that diagnosis, you don't hear anything else. All you hear is cancer, and of course, all the images that have been prolonged by the media, perpetrated by the media, which is, the bald heads, the deathbeds, and, the goodbyes. So let's change that, and some of the things that we can empower ourselves now. Is that good? Okay, we're about to start our third segment.
Great.
Good. Okay, here we go. Let me get started. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. You can hear us worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. Today's teachers on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show are Ty and Charlene Bollinger. For those of you who are new to holistic, integrative, functional, natural, empowerment, taking your life back and your health back, Ty and Charlene have been instrumental in getting the word out there that there is a new truth about cancer, that there is a way that we can empower ourselves and make informed choices. No longer do we give our freedom away, we can take our health back. And for those of you who want to learn more about Charlene and Ty and the work that they're doing, The Truth About Cancer is definitely a place that you can go to. Also, many of the doctors that they speak about have been on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. Ty has been on my show before. You can listen to that show at whenyounneedafriend.com. So let's continue this movement of empowerment and freedom, and realizing that we co-create our life. And so we are, I want to encourage you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. When you do that, the show gets sent to your tablets, your phone. And while you're there, check out my sponsors. Without my sponsors, the show would not happen. So make sure you support my sponsors the way they support the show. Now make sure that you go to the YouTube channel, because you'll get to hear the on and off the air conversations that we either can't have on the air or we don't have enough time to have on the air. So please go to YouTube and become a subscriber. That channel is growing, and I'm really thrilled to see the interest in this new truth that we talk about on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. That's really not new. It might be new to us, but it's not new. Please make sure that you check out my channels, my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow me there. And you can follow me on Instagram and, not Instagram, podcast. And you can call at 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. Be the 7th or 10th caller to win the books Cancer, Step Outside the Box, and The Truth About Cancer. Ty and Charlene, it's my dream that we look at cancer no different than the common cold, that somehow we take the myth, the mystery away. And it's almost like going to the Oz and going for Oz and not realizing that even Oz was a fraud, that the power is in us all along. And so that's what the two of you are doing, and that's what you're doing to empower us all. But share some of the do's and don'ts that you've learned that you want to just leave with us so that we can start doing our research and making our informed choices. Let's start with Charlene.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do and a lot of things you should not do. I think the first thing that anybody thinking about cancer, researching, or even diagnosed with cancer should do is wait before making a decision. It took a while to grow in the body if they're faced with a new diagnosis. And so they don't have to make a decision overnight. With the oncologist, they will be bullied and prodded and pushed. Take a step back. Remember, we are in control, like you're saying, of our bodies and our lives. It's our decision. These doctors we can hire and we can also fire. So the first thing they should do is wait and research and pray. God promises wisdom, James 1:5, to those who lack. He also says, as you said earlier, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So it's our goal to get the knowledge into everybody's hands so they can then make an informed decision on what's best for them. That's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, they need to radically change the way that they eat and what they put on their skin and on their bodies. They need to clean up their home, detoxify everything around them from their surroundings, non-toxic cleaners in the home, non-toxic things on the body, skin care, hair care, organic food, non-GMO, as close to nature as you can get it, all real food. I would recommend a great detox. We have information on our website on how to do that. Mm-hmm. But not only for the body detoxing, but the mind. The mind has such power over the body. There is a mind, spirit, and body connection. Mm-hmm. And so if we are riddled with angry thoughts or fearful thoughts, which the oncologist will put fear in people, mm-hmm. Don't listen to those voices. God is not a God of fear, but of love, and perfect love casts out fear. And so we need to do the work to detoxify our mind and our bodies and eat real food and drink lots of water. Get away from sugar. Sugar feeds cancer. So stop all sugar and processed foods. Those are the top tips that I would share with anybody wanting to know, where do I start? What do I do first?
Very good.
And I almost forgot exercise. Exercise and sauna, infrared sauna. Rebounding is the best exercise. It moves the lymphatic system, which it doesn't have a pulse. So moving up and down will detoxify the body. That's key. Ty?
Yes, Ty. It's your turn.
Yeah, she covered everything, so there's nothing left to say.
Well, she was very good about it. Let's talk about maybe different things that we can do for diagnosis that are not as invasive that they're using these days, like thermography maybe.
Yeah, I'll cover that. And I was actually just being sarcastic there. I was going to add a couple things.
Okay, go ahead.
One of the reasons that you want to not necessarily, not always listen to your oncologist is that the oncologist will instill fear. But the reason that they instill fear is that they honestly don't know how to treat cancer. So they're not doing it on purpose. They're doing it typically from a situation where they're desperate and ignorant as well. And they were never properly educated in medical school how to treat cancer. They were never taught about the impact of nutrition and detoxification on your body. So they really don't know. And so we're not anti-doctor and we're not anti-oncologists. They're good people. Mm-hmm. They just were never taught the appropriate protocols when they were in medical school to treat a body that's sick. They're really good at trauma medicine. They're really good at putting Humpty Dumpty back together even if he falls off the wall. But they're not good at treating degenerative disease like cancer because they were never taught about nutrition and detox and all of this nature's medicine chest while they were in school. So I just wanted to make that clear that we're by no means anti-doctor, and there is a place for modern medicine, but it's typically in trauma medicine, reattaching a limb or trauma surgery.
Agreed.
They're great at that.
Yeah.
But they just don't understand how to treat cancer. So, and they don't understand how to detect cancer either. So that was the question that you just asked. The mammograms, well, mammograms use ionizing radiation to see if you have cancer, and every oncologist knows that ionizing radiation can cause cancer. That's a problem. Biopsies are really popular when it comes to determining if you have cancer. The problem is that most doctors know that if you biopsy a tumor, that it will spread those cancer cells into the bloodstream. Mm-hmm. They may not admit it, but they know that. That's just common sense. Doctors understand that. And so biopsy is not a method, not only a method to detect cancer, it's a method to spread cancer as well. So there are much less invasive ways to detect cancer that won't actually cause it or spread it. One of them, you mentioned thermography. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, go get your mammogram. But unfortunately, mammograms can cause cancer. Thermography is less invasive. It's not ionizing radiation. It's just blowing cool air over a woman's breast and looking for the hot spots through a thermal image. Mm-hmm. The technology's been around for decades, and it works. And we know that cancer cells react slower to temperature changes than normal cells. So when you blow the cool air over the body part that you're looking to examine, it's not just breast. You can use thermography with different cancers, not just breast cancer. But when you blow cool air over it, the rest of the body cools down and the cancer stays hot. And you can see that in a thermal image. You can detect breast cancer up to 5 or 6 years before mammograms can if you use thermography. But not approved. It's not an approved treatment. There's places that you can go to get it done in the United States. And I think Canada is really down on thermography now too. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, you kind of got to do it underground because it's not an approved method to detect, even though it works better and it's less invasive. Yeah. So again, we're in this bizarre medical system where the treatments can cause cancer, the detections or the diagnostics can cause or further cancer, can spread the cancer if it's a biopsy. But treatments that work better or diagnostics that are less invasive, they're not necessarily approved.
It's a shame, isn't it? It's like, I remember there was a book that my children had when they were little that when you entered this world, everything was backwards. And it was, I can't remember the name of the book now, but it's what's happening now. And we are taking that as that's normal. It's normal to go against our intuition. So with that in mind, I know, Charlene, that you have been working on a cookbook. I don't know if you've released it yet or when it's going to be coming out. But of course, you talked about the importance of nutrition. Is there a particular, and what we're going to do is maybe we can talk about this off the air, if there's a particular way of eating that the Truth About Cancer or the two of you have learned that might be best for an individual, but not all. Or if there's one size fits all. So we're going to continue our conversation with Charlene and Ty Bollinger. And remember, we're giving away 2 books today, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. Be the 7th and 10th caller and get the 2 books, Cancer, Step Outside the Box, and The Truth About Cancer, when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. I got in before that. Ha! So off the air, we hear a lot about ketogenic. We hear about whole food, plant-based, vegan. We hear about, eat whatever you want. And of course, when you go into an oncology center, I used to be a marketing rep for an imaging center. There were Tootsie Rolls everywhere, and I didn't know any better. And the reps bring cookies and all the wonderful milk and all these wonderful things. So have you guys discovered what is it one size fits all, or is every individual can get to determine what works best for them?
Go ahead.
Yeah, with the cookbook and it's not done yet. It should have been, but as I run the company, there's so many moving parts that I haven't had the time to finish and complete that project. But it's a beautiful project. It's going to be called Real Food for Real People. One of the subtitles will be Beauty from Ashes, because out of the ash heap of death, we give the world life and truth. And a lot of the truth and life comes through our food. Now, as far as the different ways to eat, ketogenic, all raw, all juicing, all these different things, vegans,
water,
vegetarian,
fasting.
Yeah, there's water fasting.
Yeah.
there's a place, I think, for all of those things, and not everybody is the same. And going into writing the cookbook, we had discussions on, well, this is going to make this group mad, or this is going to make that group mad. And some of these groups can almost be a religion in what they believe. If you're not a vegan, you're bad, you're out, you need to convert, you need to come over. And like Ty likes to say, I'm agnostic as far as different diets are concerned. We believe that different diets work for different people. The ketogenic diet is a really great diet, but it's not a one size fits all. Other people do much better with all raw. I think all raw is great. It's real food, and that's what we want. We want real food. As far as meats are concerned, if we can find meats that are pastured and grass-fed like God intended, cared for, and they don't have a lot of stress, they're eating organic food, those meats are good for people. And even someone with cancer, I wouldn't recommend a heavy meat diet because meat is acidic.
Yes.
But a little bit here and there, some people actually need more.
Yeah.
Yes. A grass-fed beef, it's harder to digest, so that could be an issue. Digestion is really important in the gut with a cancer patient. Chicken is a little lighter. Fish is probably better than the other choices if you have cancer. It's high in fats that your body needs. A high-fat diet, some people say stay away from fats. It's bad for you. Actually, you probably already know they're really good for you. Coconut oil, fantastic. So there's a lot of different types of things.
Yeah. If you're talking about avocado versus a French fry, then there's one fat that's better than the other, right? Yeah. Okay. So
but it depends on how you make the fry.
The what?
It depends on how you make the French fry. I've made homemade French fries that are delicious. We don't go to McDonald's because that's poison, or fast food French fries. They're usually made in bad oils. But if you make them in coconut oil, for example, with a lot of herbs and that kind of thing, you could really amp up the taste as well as the health. Just cover them with coconut oil and feed your family a lot of coconut oil that way.
Well, you know what I just did? I just bought an air fryer. And for the first time in a long time, I made French fries. And so it was really, have you tried the air fryer?
We have not. Have you?
No. I'm familiar with what it is, but I don't think we've ever used one.
Yeah. Dr. Joel Furman, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joel Furman, but he's a regular on the show, and he talks about that oil is not good for us. Michael Clapper just did a show with me, and they talked about how oils are not good. Now, I'm sure in small quantities that's good, and the amount that you're going to be putting on your French fries is a small amount, but it's amazing how the evidence, even when we look at the same evidence, different people have different interpretation. Isn't that true for the Bible as well, huh?
Yes. Some things.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to do our fourth segment and get ready for, I can't believe. Okay, well, let's go into, let me see. What I want people to know are the things that they don't know about cancer. Like, for example, I talk about all the time on the show that DNA plays a very small role, and things in that kind of in that level. You know, if you guys can keep up, can think of other things that people need to know, so that they know that they are empowered and that they're not inheriting their parents' DNA towards cancer. Because you guys, Ty, you can be a perfect example on that one. As many people have passed away with cancer in your family, I mean, there should be no fear that you are healthy. Okay, so here we go. Ready to start? Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow together. And for those of you who have been trying to get the book, 7th and 10th caller, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. The books are called Cancer, Step Outside the Box, and also The Truth About Cancer. If you want to learn more about the truth about cancer, you can go to thetruthaboutcancer.org. But today we're talking about new truths that you may not have known about cancer. Now, one of the things I'd like to add before we continue our conversation with Ty and Charlene, every day you hear on the show, the commercial that we have for the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation. This is an opportunity, and this month we're going to be stepping it up a notch. We're going to be educating all of us on how empowered we are to make choices to prevent disease. But if you do have it, what can you do to reverse it? And the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation is there for you. It's new, and we need everything you can provide: time, treasure, talent. And what our goal is to be a resource to help people heal naturally. But if you need treatments, holistic, alternative, and you are willing to do anything you possibly can, the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation will pay for this treatment, because not many people feel that they have that financial support to do the treatment for alternative or holistic or integrative, whatever it is that you want to call it. So the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation wants to pay so that you don't fear going bankrupt someday. And so with that in mind, Ty and Charlene, I just want to thank you for your time and for being here and share this information. I want to continue with that ideology of people thinking that because insurance pays for chemo, radiation, and surgery, that somehow that's their only option. Would you like to share a little bit about alternative and integrative therapies that you have researched that ultimately end up to be cheaper than going the chemotherapy route?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lily. You know, the interesting thing is that here in the United States, those are the treatments that are approved. But when we look worldwide, you know, I visited Latvia several years ago, recently did a trip to Asia. We're finding that governments across the world and medical systems across the world are actually paying for other types of treatments. So, for instance, there's a healthy virus called Rigvir that's been approved in Latvia, Georgia, and Armenia to be used alongside with other chemotherapy or other treatments that we would think of as conventional treatments. But this is a completely outside the box natural treatment. We look at Philippines, Japan, Malaysia, and Taiwan. Those countries, pretty much anything that you need to use is covered by insurance. And so they become places where there's a lot of medical tourism, that people are flying from America to go across to Asia to be treated because they're able to be covered by insurance in those countries. Treatments are a lot cheaper there as well. Even the conventional treatments there are a lot cheaper than they are here. So I think that's something that's unique to the United States, where people are limited. Well, not only the United States, there are other countries, but the United States is certainly one of them. But there's a lot of countries across the world that have much more freedom when it comes to being treated according to the way that you see fit. And you know, I would encourage people not to be down on yourself, or not to be just in despair if you've been part of a family that has had cancer that seems to run in the family. I'm a person that is in that boat. I've had a lot of people in my family die of cancer, but you know, our message is that there's hope. Cancer is not primarily a genetic disease. Even the American Cancer Society admits that. Your doctor will tell you that you've got bad genes and there's not much you can do, but that's just because they don't understand that there are a lot of treatments that work. But it's not primarily a genetic disease. And there's a new field of science, relatively new, called epigenetics, which tells us that our lifestyle choices can override our genetic expression. So good choices in detoxification, good choices in nutrition, good choices in your exercise program can make a drastic difference in the way that your genes express. And you might come from a family of a lot of people that had cancer, but you don't necessarily have to get cancer if you make good choices.
Very good. Charlene, would you like to add anything to what Ty said?
Yeah, actually, he's absolutely right in that it's not your genes primarily, it's your environment. And so there's a saying that goes, it's in your mama's cookbook. So families that eat together, they live in the same environment, whether it's non-toxic or toxic. People live by plants that are toxic, or the EMF that they're exposed to daily within their homes or their surroundings. So mostly we see cancer being a result of the way we eat and the toxins that we're surrounded with. And one of the main things I want to be sure that people understand, especially young mothers, as they're having babies, one of the questions we get a lot when we talk about genetics and cancer, they say, well, if cancer is not genetic, why are little children getting cancer?
Yeah.
And so I like to address the fact that there have been a study done on the cord blood to a baby. And within that study, they studied it for chemicals. And there were over 200 carcinogenic chemicals in that blood. And that means that baby from conception to birth was literally every cell in the formation of those cells was bathed in toxic soup. And we've got to think mothers taking the flu vaccine, for example, there's a lot of toxins there. Eating GMO foods, a lot of toxins there. The toxic beauty products or skin products, that we're just covered with so many toxins from head to toe and within our bodies as we eat and drink toxic water if we're not careful, that when we're pregnant, we're a toxic soup and the baby is being formed in this toxic soup. So the real question is this: how is any baby that has been formed in such a toxic environment born alive? That's the right question to ask. And so through educating mothers and families how to live a non-toxic life, that makes all the difference. And we'll see less childhood cancers and cancers across the board as we learn how to live healthy.
I know, but the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry must be in cahoots or something, because one gets them sick and the other one tries to keep them sick. And so it's one of those things where we're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And most parents are so addicted to sugar anyway that they're drinking, these drinks, these high sugar drinks while pregnant, and don't even think that it's affecting their child. And then we're surprised when a little innocent child not only gets cancer, but led to slaughter in chemotherapy. It just breaks my heart. One of the reasons I started the foundation is I want to end this. I really do. Just like the same intention that you have. And, no one is born chemotherapy deficient, and nobody looks for what is deficient in my body. What can I fix in my body? And on the DNA side, I wanted to address that we don't inherit our DNA as much as we inherit the family recipe. So I'm so grateful that you're doing that cookbook that kind of changed that around. So thank you. Now we are getting close to the end. We're getting close to the end of our show and our broadcast on the air. And I just wanted to, if there's any advice that you could give someone, let's go back there again. You gave some great advice. Charlene would like to give some more for someone who is listening today and is feeling helpless.
I would say in the Lord, ask, seek, and knock, and the answers will be given. Keep listening to this radio show and keep researching.
Thank you. Thank you. And what about you, Ty?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate our message that cancer is not a death sentence. There's always hope. It has a lot to do with your dietary choices. Just remember, Charlene gave you some great examples on real food. Just remember, real food doesn't come in a bag or a box. So if you can eat as close to nature as possible, you're going to probably be a lot healthier than you've been. So that's our encouragement to you.
Yes, there's never enough time, Ty and Charlene, to go over all the information that you have graced us with through the years that you've been researching. But for those of you who would like a copy of the book, The Truth About Cancer, or Cancer, Step Outside the Box, step to the left there, because we're taking over. It's a 7th or 10th caller, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. Please remember to go to McDermott HolisticHealingFoundation.org, donate, and let's heal together. And Ty and Charlene, thank you so much for being on the show today. God bless you and all the work that you're doing. And please remember,
Thank you.
There you go. There's a little delay on the line there. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Let me see this
Ever.
delay. I didn't know how that was going to work because we did have that delay. I'm like, make it the best day. Let me see. Pause, pause, pause. Ever. How wonderful. Thank you so much. I know you guys are busy. Where are you guys off to next? You're going to take the tour, you said.
Well, we're in October, we're launching our last documentary called Global Quest. So we're doing that. And then over the next several months, just producing the next documentary. We're traveling a few times to speak, but we're going to be mostly here in Tennessee.
Great, great. Do you ever come to Florida? Because we'd love to see you here. Other than to receive the awards.
Okay.
Receive your awards for the Doctors Who Rock. That's where I saw you last.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great.
Docs Who Rock, yeah. And that was good. That was fun. Kelly's really sweet. A lot of great people there. We actually had our last live event in Florida. This year we're not having a live event. We've got so many other things going on. We couldn't find the proper venue, but it really worked out. We can see God's wisdom in that because we had so many other things that took precedence over that. But it's a very important event. So I went to LA, found a venue that I love. So we're going to go ahead and do that in 2019. We've already locked down the dates and the place right outside of Disneyland in LA. And it's going to be fantastic. We're looking forward to that.
Wonderful.
And we want you to come.
Okay. Well, I will take that invitation and I will do everything in my power to get there. I don't know how, but the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation, my vision is to be larger than Susan G. Komen, and all as you know, I heard that, and I read that Susan G. Komen, the majority of the money that they collect goes to paying salaries and very little goes to research, but the research has already been done. I don't understand what else. And so what we want to do is we want to give the money to the people that need treatment. I was at an event. It was a holistic thing for cancer, conference for cancer for the doctors and everything. And there was this guy there, and I don't know if you've heard of this, but I was appalled. He came to me because someone said, you need to go talk to her. I don't know if he knew I had the show or what, or the foundation, but he's an insurance salesman. And what he does is that he buys insurance, life insurance, for people that have been given cancer diagnosis for whatever amount that you need. So let's say you have a $300,000 policy and you need to do treatment. Whatever that treatment is, you hand over that policy to that individual. So when you die, they get all the money. I thought, that's horrible. We can do this for free.
It's called a viatical settlement, and you get X percentage of the face value or the cash surrender value of that policy.
Okay.
And up front, you can use the funds to treat cancer. And then they end up getting paid on the back end whenever the person dies.
Well, I want people to live. I want to be able to pay for their treatment. Yeah. And I don't know if there's anything that we can do together in the future, but the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation is committed to using the money to help people heal and to go with whatever it is that they feel that their doctor, their integrative functional medicine doctor, oncologist that will help them heal and replenish the body with what's missing. Have you seen that has been the greatest, where people get angry when you say your body can heal naturally, and a biopsy is just releasing the beast that your body has worked so much to encapsulate that cancer, and now we're releasing the beast with a biopsy. Do people get angry with you? Are they open to your message now?
A little both, but mostly open to it.
Yeah, and from the time we first started this many years ago, in the beginning of our journey, we had a lot of people that were angry and thought we were just insane and crazy, didn't know what we were talking about. But a lot of those same people have come on board now, and they see, doctors included, doctors that thought we were crazy, that today realize the wisdom and are even practicing different medicine, real medicine. Friends, I have personal family that still just thinks we're crazy. But I believe that God sprinkles those people in our life to keep us motivated and very strong and focused on this mission, because without a doubt, it's a calling and it's a mission. And we're with you. I did not know about your foundation, so I'd like to talk off air sometime about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, like Ty said, most people really, they get it. People are starting to see more and more that there's definitely something wrong in Denmark here.
Yeah.
And so we're encouraged to see more and more people are jumping on board. And that's why we're seeing a lot of censorship now, open censorship, because we've made such a big difference. You've made such a big difference with your radio show, just educating, and now with your foundation.
Well, and from your mouth to God's ears. And I, I've been dealing with people getting angry with the message, but not people that I don't know. It's people that I know. That's the hardest. That people that you love, your children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, family members, friends, like every time I talk to someone who's up to what we're doing, I get this whole thing. My best friend won't even listen to me, or my child will listen to me, or I'm seeing my grandchild, eat sugar, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's like, the ones that we really want to impact. Those are the ones that seem more resistive. I don't know. Maybe, like you said, there's still family members that are a little bit thinking you're crazy. But that's been my entire journey. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
Friends and family are the hardest to reach. So
Yeah.
You're not alone. That's the hardest. It's easier to tell a stranger.
Yeah. Strangers get it, but friends and family, they just don't. I don't know why, but you look at Jesus. He said that a prophet is not respected in his hometown. He went to his hometown and they all persecuted him, basically.
Yeah.
But he had more success outside of that realm. I think that's just, for whatever reason, that's embedded in humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. I just keep chasing after the one. I know that Jesus is chasing after the one, and we maybe need to chase over the 99, so that we can help the bigger people, the mass. And then eventually, when I first started eating, changing my lifestyle and diet and all of that, family can hurt you. Family can hurt you. But the same family that didn't understand now are asking, hey, and they're finding out that they have food allergies, and they have. So, it all comes around. And I think that full circle, if we stay the course, eventually, just like the circle, we'll eventually come around and be able to help those we truly, truly love. So I want to thank you for everything that you guys are doing, and anything that you can use me for, I am here for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Lillian.
much.
God bless you. Really appreciate it.
God bless you too. God bless you too.